Hello lovelies, please like and subscribe. If you like my content, please consider becoming a member or adding a super thanks as well. Enjoy the story.
Jake and Terry sat across from each other at a candlelit table in a fashionable restaurant. The atmosphere was intimate, and Terry's heart raced as he admired the man sitting across from him. Jake's strong, masculine features exuded a confidence and an authority that Terry found very attractive. His sharp jawline and muscular build commanded attention, and he looked like he was a man who was used to getting his way. Terry, on the other hand, had delicate features, his slender frame and soft curves giving him an air of vulnerability. His carefully styled hair cascaded in silky blonde waves past his ears, framing his face with a touch of femininity. Terry was captivated by Jake's dominant aura. His assertiveness both excited and intimidated him. Jake, noticing Terry's gaze, leaned forward, his eyes piercing into Terry's with intensity. "I'm glad you agreed to meet up outside of the gym, this way we can really get to know each other. You're an incredibly fascinating person." Terry blushed, his shyness evident as he lowered his gaze. "Thank you, Jake. You're a great personal trainer. The exercises you showed me were very different from what I've been told to do in the past." Jake nodded. Not everyone needs to be bulky and muscular. People come in lots of different colors and shapes and sizes. Some tall, some petite. Some muscular, some slender. Some masculine, some feminine. Everyone is different. Terry nodded, agreeing despite the slight blush creeping into his cheeks at Jake's piercing gaze. "I'm glad you made me focus less on my biceps and more on my hips, thighs and buns. I've never liked the bulky look or the broad shoulders. So ugly." He stopped suddenly and laughed with embarrassment. "I meant, I don't like broad shoulders on me. But on you they look good," Terry corrected himself, laughing and covering his mouth girlishly. Jake smiled, but his gaze was fixed on Terry. "I love the way you laugh and giggle. It's so adorable." Terry made himself quiet down. But Jake leaned in closer, his voice dripping with confidence and a slight huskiness. "From the moment I laid eyes on you, I knew there was something special about you." Terry's heart skipped a beat, a mix of excitement and trepidation flooding through him. He had always been secretly drawn to assertive men, but Jake's commanding presence made him feel weak and soft inside. He couldn't deny the thrill that coursed through him, stirring something deep within his being. "I can sense that. I guess I was wondering, what do you look for in a guy?" Jake's expression shifted, becoming more serious as he leaned back in his chair. He was accustomed to having his desires fulfilled, and something told him Terry was what he had been looking for. "Well, eventually, I want a relationship that embraces traditional gender roles," Jake explained. "I am a leader, and I expect my partner to embrace the role of a devoted and obedient wife. So in a sense, a guy who is not exactly a guy." Terry's breath caught in his throat, his eyes widening with surprise and a hint of confusion. "A wife? What does that mean?" Jake's eyes glinted with a mix of determination and desire. "It means I want you to embrace your femininity fully, Terry. I want you to be my trophy wife, adorning my arm and fulfilling the duties of a wife. You'll be elegant, nurturing, and obedient to my desires." Jake stopped and watched Terry. He knew his words were very direct, but he didn't want to waste time. If Terry was what he was looking for, being direct and demanding would have the desired response. He watched Terry's face, the pretty blush spread further on his cheeks, and he knew he was right. Terry's mind raced, his heart pounding as he tried to process Jake's words. He had always yearned for someone to appreciate this side of him, the side of him that he didn't fully understand but knew was there. This level of directness was beyond anything he had considered. A mix of shock and excitement swirled within him, a part of him craving the fulfillment of these desires. I'm not sure if I understand, Terry stammered, his voice wavering. I've never thought about being a wife in that way. Jake leaned forward, his voice low and commanding. Terry, deep down, in a part of you that society tells you to hide away. You yearn for a partner who can take control, who can guide you and bring out your true softness. I can see that in you, from the way you move around the gym, to the way you giggled just now. I can offer you the fulfillment of those desires. It will be a relationship built on trust, acceptance, and of course mutual satisfaction. Terry's mind raced, his cheeks flushing. He had always been shy and submissive, secretly longing for someone to take charge like this. The prospect of surrendering control to Jake was both exhilarating and frightening. Suddenly, a waiter approached their table, ready to take their order. Jake's eyes never left Terry as he spoke, his tone commanding the waiter's attention. I will have the chef's special, Jake instructed. The waiter jotted this down. A subtle smirk tugging at his lips, not looking away from Terry, he continued. And she will have the salmon. With the side salad. The waiter blinked in surprise, hesitating for a moment. Terry's heart skipped a beat, his cheeks flushing with a mix of embarrassment and excitement. He stole a quick glance at the waiter before lowering his gaze, a newfound thrill coursing through his veins. Very good, sir, the waiter finally replied and turned to leave. Terry looked at Jake, a mixture of confusion and excitement flickering in his eyes. The hands that were moments ago covering his giggling mouth were now covering his shocked gasp. Jake was still looking at Terry when he clicked his fingers at the retreating waiter. We'll take that to go. His fingers reached and closed around Terry's, calling back softly, the lady has somewhere she needs to be tonight. Terry awoke slowly on Sunday morning. The sunlight was streaming in through the windows. He stretched and sat up languidly, not wanting to wake Jake's sleeping figure next to him. That was the third time this week he had dreamt of their first date. He smiled as he let its memory settle around him, like gentle loving waves. Finally he slid off the bed. Their clothes were strewn all around the room. Terry blushed as he remembered the events of last night. Their lovemaking had increased in frequency and intensity since he had begun the hormone therapy. He padded slowly across the room and bent to pick up Jake's discarded shirt. It was a number of sizes larger than him, and wearing it always made him feel warm and petite. As he walked into the bathroom, buttoned up and stood in front of the mirror. It had been several weeks since he began taking female hormones. Today, as he examined his changing reflection, he noticed and felt something new, a tenderness in his chest, an indication that the hormones were working their magic. His hands trembled slightly as he reached up, feeling the gentle soreness in his new breasts under the rough material of Jake's shirt. The sensation was foreign yet strangely comforting, a reminder that his body was transforming into what it needed to be. He also noticed subtle shifts in the distribution of his body fat in the reflection. Fat deposits that had once been stubbornly resistant to change were now gradually softening and relocating to more womanly places. His waist had become narrower, accentuating the gentle curve of his hips. A warmth spread through him. Terry traced his fingertips along his hip bones, savoring the contours that were emerging. We can't have any of that, Terry Bear, Jake's voice called out. Terry turned and smiled as his partner stepped up behind him. Jake's masculine frame always made him feel petite and feminine, and this was no exception. I do like the boyfriend's shirt look, but I'm afraid we can't have you wearing anything masculine. Jake's gaze shifted from Terry's face to his body, noticing the subtle shifts that the hormones had brought forth. Jake approached him with gentle eyes and a reassuring smile. May I see the changes? He asked, his voice filled with warmth. Terry nodded, feeling a wave of gratitude and love wash over him. He unbuttoned the shirt, one button at a time, revealing the body that was slowly blossoming. As the fabric fell away, Jake's eyes widened with awe and admiration. He stepped closer, his fingers grazing the tender skin of Terry's chest. "You look amazing," Jake whispered, his voice filled with genuine adoration. "These changes, they suit you. I'm so proud of you, Tina." This made Terry blush deeply. They had discussed the name that he would use moving forward. Jake had suggested Tina. Terry liked the sound of it too. "I actually have something for you." To Terry's surprise, Jake produced an exquisite, delicate lace bra. Its intricate blue and pink lace design spoke of the care that Jake had put into choosing it. Terry's breath hitched with a mixture of emotions as he gingerly accepted the bra. With trembling hands, he fastened it around his chest, feeling a profound sense of femininity as the lace material touched his skin. Jake moved closer, wrapping his arms around Terry from behind, supporting him as they both gazed at the reflection in the mirror. "You are stunning, Terry," he whispered. "You are becoming exactly what I dreamed you would become." Terry held Jake's forearms and smiled up at him. "I think it's time for my hormones now," Jake whispered. "Good girl, you can have it with your coffee, make me one too." His hand ran slowly up the bra straps. "You know how I like my coffee, right? Extra cream."